You're listening to the Situation Today podcast with Gulf Business. If you'd like to learn more about the latest business stories in the GCC region, please visit www.gulfbusiness.com. It's a pleasure to welcome George Kunnappally, who is the Managing Director of Nandos UAE. George, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Gareth. It's an absolute pleasure to join you.
So you head up Nandos in the UAE. It's a brand that has become very popular in this part of the world. Can you tell us the backstory to Nandos and how it got going here and how long it's been operating here for?
Great, fantastic. As a South African, I'm sure you're very familiar with the Nandos brand, but it all started off way back in 1987 when two friends, Fernando and Robbie. Fernando took Robbie to a nondescript chicken restaurant in the heart of Johannesburg, and they just loved the flame grilled peri-peri chicken that they had at that restaurant. They loved it so much that they bought the restaurant and they renamed it in honor of Fernando. They called it Nandos. And then they went sharing that passion for flame grilled peri-peri chicken with the rest of the world. Several new Nandos stores were opened up in South Africa in the immediate few years. And then they took it global. It went into the UK where it became a cult. It became a religion, a lifestyle. Today, that's the largest market with about 430, 440 stores. And it came into the Middle East, I believe first in Qatar, and in 2002, our chairman and franchise owner, Mr. Sohail Gidwani, brought the brand into the UAE. Now, there was a minor difference. In South Africa, the brand was positioned as a quick service restaurant focused on takeaways and deliveries and very little on dine-in. When it went into the UK, it was positioned as a fast casual restaurant, while in the UAE, the vision was to position it slightly below the market leaders at the time, Chili's and Fridays, but way above the QSR market leaders like KFC and Burger King. So we came into the market as a premium casual dining restaurant in the UAE in 2002. And there's not been looking back since then, as chicken is universal and flame grilled peri-peri chicken is something that you either fall in love with, and if you do, you become a fan, you become a brand ambassador, you become an addict, if I can use that word. So to put things in perspective, when a regular casual dining brand says they have a loyal customer, that's like one visit per month. For us, a loyal customer is like 3 visits a week, because you are able to have and enjoy Nandos more frequently than any of the other regular global franchise casual dining chains. I wouldn't name them, but you get the drift. So the brand became popular for its flame grilled peri-peri chicken, and grilled chicken is again healthy. And as it spread across the Middle East, and then it became successful in Australia and New Zealand, and also in the US and Canada. Today we have 1,400 stores in about 20 plus countries. And we have been in the UAE for 22 years, and we are still expanding. We are successful. We are painting this city peri-peri. So really delighted to be associated with this brand and to be very successful in this market.
Right. So George, can you tell me how many outlets you have in the UAE right now and where they are situated?
So currently we have 23 outlets. That's 21 restaurants and 2 dark kitchens. And our real estate is heavily indexed in Dubai. We have a larger footprint in Dubai, and we are also present in Abu Dhabi and Al Ain, along with a store each in Ras Al Khaimah and Sharjah. And the future development is again focused on Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi especially because we have fewer stores in Abu Dhabi, and the vision of the brand as well as the ownership and leadership is to be more accessible, have smaller restaurants in more communities where we are easily, conveniently located, and we are able to grow with the communities as Dubai and Abu Dhabi expand. And we are already present in most of the major malls, which is Dubai Mall, Mall of the Emirates, Middle City Center, Dera City Center, Festival City. But we are also actively present in all the communities, where be that Marina or Greens or Motor City or even Jumeirah Village Circle, Al Zaina, Remile. So our development has been multi-pronged. We are also opening dark kitchens to see if a new community or a new area has legs. If delivery picks up and it's sustainable, then we could open a small restaurant and offer dine-in and takeaway. The third strategy is to ensure that while we are successful as a lunch and dinner venue, we are also offering breakfast in about 18 of our locations. And that's something new that we have tried. Again, it's what you would expect out of a breakfast menu, but with a Nando's twist. And it's worked well for us. We have some fabulous venues with outdoor terraces, and we are open from 8 in the morning. And our breakfast menu is now picking up a significant part of our menu mix and sales mix. So it's been a learning curve, but we believe there is an opportunity for Nando's to be a breakfast player. If Italian and Turkish and Lebanese restaurants could become breakfast menus, why not Nando's? Why not a chicken restaurant? And our customers have proved us right, and we are really delighted with the response.
Interesting. And it's very interesting that you also talk about dark kitchens. Can you explain how that works exactly? So effectively, that's a Nando's outlet that maybe is, hidden somewhere in a building, but it's maybe being used for online deliveries. Is that correct?
So what we have done is we were very particular that we didn't want to share our IP with a third-party operator. So we leased space in an industrial zone or a commercial zone. And that's an area where we believe it's possible to put a restaurant in the future. But as of today, it doesn't have the commercial viability to have a full-fledged store. So we moved into that area. And the space I'm talking about is Dubai Silicon Oasis, where we opened our first dark kitchen. And the nearest restaurant to Silicon Oasis was Festival City, so it's quite far for us to be able to service that area on a frequent basis and within our timelines, and to ensure that the product reaches the customer at the right temperature and within an acceptable time frame. So we opened that dark kitchen to be able to service that audience. And today it's doing extremely well from a delivery commercial point of view. But I believe to put a restaurant physical store in Dubai Silicon Oasis, we are still looking for the right location, and probably it's a year or two away. And that we are not a delivery focused business. I've said that in the past. Nando's is very much a dine-in experiential concept, and we strongly encourage our customers to try us out in our brick and mortar stores, where the experience, I believe, is even today far superior to the delivery experience or the takeaway experience. So delivery for us is purely for those customers who find it inconvenient to visit our stores. But it's not our focus area. We still are heavily focused. We are built to serve customers in our restaurant.
So I'm interested to talk about the types of food, and I think you've alluded to some of the differences between what you get in a Nando's in South Africa versus a Nando's in the UAE. I know, being South African, that Nando's wouldn't exactly be on my list for having breakfast, for example. But
Certainly.
obviously here in the UAE, it's a very different story. And also in South Africa, vegetarian options are not really that wide on the menu there, if I can say that, owing to the big meat eating culture there.
You are absolutely right. So all across the world, we serve the same first-class flame-grilled peri-peri chicken, but there are mild nuances in every market depending upon the target audience and what your customers expect. And I've always believed that what is good for your customers and your employees is good for business. In the UAE, customers expect a lot more in terms of service, personalized service, than what you would expect in many parts of Europe or even the US. And it is with that in mind that when Mr. Sohail launched the brand in the UAE, he went with a full-fledged, full-service restaurant model rather than a semi-service model like, say, what we are doing in the UK, or a full QSR model like in South Africa. Having said that, even the vegetarian vegetarian menu or the vegetarian options that we have in this part of the world. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, vegetarianism or vegetarian menus were still focused on those who were vegetarians for a religious reason or on pure medical grounds. Today, you have customers who are interested in a vegetarian menu for ethical reasons or purely because they want to avoid meat certain days of the week or to maintain a balanced, healthy lifestyle. And we do have vegetarian items on the menu, but it's always scattered around appetizers and main courses and salads and sides. And it's quite difficult for a customer to actually pinpoint, okay, that's a vegetarian item, this is a vegetarian item. So we pulled it out and we built a separate vegetarian menus. So today customers know that if 5 of us want to have flame grilled peri-peri chicken and we have a friend who wants to have a vegetarian meal today, they still have adequate options and they don't have to just settle for, I'll pull out the meat protein from the main course and throw in some tomatoes and broccoli and there you go, which is what happens in many Italian restaurants or many other cuisines where my wife is a vegetarian. So when we go to certain restaurants, every main course item can become vegetarian, but how do you make that a vegetarian item? I'll just remove the chicken or the beef. I mean, that's not fair. You need to build something which is specifically with that audience in mind. It's great if you can just remove the meat protein, but we went one step further and we built a vegetarian menu purely with the vegetarian customer in mind. The other thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to treat vegetarian customers at par with our core audience, which are Nando's flame grilled chicken customers. And I believe this time we have got it right because the vegetarian menu mix or sales mix, since we launched the vegetarian menu about 2.5 months ago, is picking up month on month. And that's been probably one of our good decisions this year to focus exclusively on a vegetarian fare in Nando's. Breakfast, again, it's from customer feedback. We have these restaurants, we have these beautiful venues, and we have our employees coming into the restaurants pretty early. And there is an audience in the mall or in the community who's looking for an early breakfast. And the usuals, pancakes, waffles, smoothies, eggs of different styles. But we again wanted to give it a Nando's twist. So none of the breakfast menu items are run of the mill. They've always got a Nando's twist to it. And even when we incorporate local items, whether it's hummus or batata hara or casa fatouche, there's always a Nando's twist to it. So it's not what you would find in an Arabic restaurant or a Lebanese restaurant. And that brings a smile on the faces of our customers when they see that, oh, I never thought you could do this with eggs or you could do this with hummus. And that's where the differentiation comes in, and that's where the loyalty builds in, that when Nando's does something, there's always something cheeky about it. There's always something different about it. And we thrive on that. And we love the fact that customers find that amusing and want to come back to it. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned the cheeky aspect, because in South Africa, Nando's is very well known for its very cheeky marketing campaigns, which often are pretty quick off the mark in terms of capitalizing on what would often be political events there or any big news events there. And I'll leave that one side. But do you take that similar approach to this market, but obviously just attuned to the segments that you've got here?
So we stay away from political commentary that's made Nando's probably a household name in South Africa. What we do is, for example, take our delivery carry bag. It says something very simple but naughty, your place or mine. That's as far as we go in this part of the world. Or when we opened up in Nashama Town Square, we had all our outdoor campaigns saying, painting the town Peri-Peri. Now, we all know what is that a take on, but that's how cheeky we get. We don't really go beyond that, considering cultural sensitivities and which part of the world we are in and the kind of diverse nationalities and sensitivities that we cater to. But having said that, we still get away with a lot, if I can say that. And customers understand that the brand is inherently naughty or cheeky or loves playing with language. And we try and manage that sensibly and taking everybody's sensitivities into consideration. Yeah, and so far I believe we have got it right. Yeah.
And generally, how is the business doing in this part of the world? Is it doing well enough that you're looking to expand and open up more outlets in the coming months? And if so, how many would you be looking at potentially?
So we had a good run since 2021. The pandemic obviously affected all of us, but casual dining bounced back towards the end of 2020. And in 2021, most of us broke even. And I'm not saying just Nando's, I'm talking about the sector because we talk to everybody, everybody talks to each other. 2022 and 2023 were very good years for casual dining and for Nando's in the UAE. And we have been on development mode, we have been on expansion mode. We are hiring more people, we are opening more stores. We recently had the first batch of Emirati nationals joining our leadership team, our head office team. And we have 3 venues under construction or going into construction. That's one is in, 2 are in Abu Dhabi, one at the Al Wada Mall, which is currently under construction, design and construction. We have another one at the Waitrose in Khalifa City, which is already leased. We have a dark kitchen opening up in the heart of Ras Al Khaimah, which is going live in a couple of weeks. And we are still talking to landlords for a couple of locations in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So yes, we are back on development mode. The business is robust. We are a Dubai, exclusively Dubai-focused business, if I can say that. Our best locations are still in Dubai. Dubai accounts for more than 60% of our business. So when the city does well, we inherently do well. And the city has been extremely gracious and a blessing to us since 2002. I mean, nowhere in the world we have imagined building a business or a brand like Nando's in 22 years if it was not for Dubai. And in the 22-year history of the brand has mostly done well in this part of the world or in the UAE. And for that, we are thankful to the people of this country and to the timely interventions and government policy and the ease of doing business. And we couldn't be more appreciative of what is in store for the future. We're looking forward to building more stores. I believe, or the vision is to go up to about 30 plus stores as the country grows, as new communities emerge. We want to be aligned with the population nodes as they move and as they build out, and be as close to our customers as possible. And Nando's should be within 10 minutes of a customer. And a physical store should be accessible conveniently. And that's the reason we have scaled up in almost all the shopping centers, community centers, and high street, so that you're not difficult to reach. And that's the vision going forward.
And just as a final question, Dubai in particular, as you mentioned, it's where most of your business is currently within the UAE. Everybody knows that Dubai is a very competitive place when it comes to food, but I've been interested in so far as I've met a lot of people who are not from South Africa who are very familiar with the Nando's brand. So clearly you are punching through there. I mean, how do you as a business find it competing in such a I mean, shall I say tough environment, because there's new brands constantly coming here. There's new restaurants opening all the time. How do you keep up with the trends?
So for us, at least as Flame Grill Peri-Peri chicken, we don't have a direct competitor in that space, because the other Flame Grill Peri-Peri chicken concepts are either not having enough number of stores or are no longer present in the market. When it comes to Nando's, like I said, if I were to compare myself with the other main casual dining players, a frequent customer visits you, like I'm a frequent customer in a few of my competitors, but I go to them as a loyal customer once a month. But when you look at a few brands, like I can even name them, Chipotle, for example, I could go there 3 times a week and not feel tired of it. I can't do that with many of the other brands I frequently go to. I can go to Nando's 2-3 times a week and have the same quarter chicken with 2 sides and not feel tired about it. We have that unique advantage that customers who love us patronize us more frequently. And when it comes to brands as iconic as Nandos or iconic as you can have Starbucks every day. So while we welcome competition, it doesn't really hurt us because as more and more brands come into the market, the city is also expanding, the ecosystem is expanding. We are learning new things. We didn't get the idea of breakfast from ourselves. We got the idea when we saw Turkish restaurants and Italian restaurants doing breakfast. A lot of our ideas are from the market, from our competition, from the sector, and best practices are also borrowed. We have absolutely no problems accepting and adopting what works in another brand or in another business. So I am not against genuine serious competition. What I'm against is nuisance value when anybody with $1 million believes that they can be a restaurateur. That's where I have an issue with, because the entry barriers are non-existent in our industry. You want to open a nursery, you need to be qualified. You want to open a school, you need to be qualified. A pharmacy, you need to be qualified. But to open a bakery or a cafe or a restaurant, all you need is money. And that's where when you have, I welcome serious entrepreneurship, but when it becomes more of a vanity project, and we have a lot of vanity projects in this ecosystem, that hurts the serious operators for whom this is bread and butter. For us, Nandos is bread and butter. So we are serious operators. So when we welcome serious entrepreneurship, serious startups, but when you are doing vanity projects because you can afford to, that hurts serious operators like us, where we employ 600 plus people, and that means we are supporting 600 plus families. And that's an important responsibility we take seriously. That's the only concern we have when it comes to competition. Genuine, responsible competition, we welcome it with open arms.
George, it's been fascinating chatting with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're listening to the Situation Today podcast with Gulf Business. If you'd like to learn more about the latest business stories in the GCC region, please visit www.gulfbusiness.com.